Morning, folks. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Today seems more like another repeat Groundhog Day, Monday again. Anyway, it's Wednesday, Hump Day, and got this from a coworker. Swapped some soap out, and this is West Coast. This is Razor Emporium's Old School, and that's what it looks like there on the inside. For me, it smells pretty nice. It's once again firm in the jug, and the once you scoop some out, whip it up in a bowl, it's pretty easy to scrape out. I use a baby spoon is what I use to get mine out, and I also got the aftershave balm to go right along with it. Some of the scent that you might pick up off of this particular soap would be like vetiver. Let's see here, some patchouli, leather, black pepper, frankincense. I think some tobacco. It's going to be a manly scent. This is for me. It works well for my nose, but for some other folks, maybe not so much. It's a manly scent, and since it does say old school, you might consider it a classic scent. For me, it smells fantastic. I like it. I've got it whipped up here in a bowl here that I picked up from Marshall's. So what the lather looks like there in the inside. Got it whipped up. This is the Vulfix. I think the model number is 2233. I did find online a handle that's ivory. I didn't realize when I got this particular one from the Superior Shave that this 21 millimeter knot Super Badger in this particular handle, tortoise handle. I knew that he was, phasing these out of his shop, but I didn't realize at the time that this particular handle was going to be, at least tortoise, was going to be that difficult to find. So if you happen to see one, if this is your kind of thing, like for me, might want to pick it up because it seems to be hard to find. The only ones I can seem to find on the internet nowadays are the ivory handles that are shaped like this. And yeah, this scent smells really nice. This is relatively moist. It's not drippy by any means, but it is on the wet side. I will say that using this badger knot, it did hold just a bit of water, so I squeezed most of it out before I got started. In other words, it's going to be a little bit different lathering up with a natural bristle as opposed to a synthetic. But this one here, it whipped it up in a hurry. 21 millimeter knot. I know the handle looks small, as well as the knot doesn't look super big. It does to me. I mean, that's pretty big. I mean, it may be 21 millimeter down here, but it blooms up quite nicely. Man, it smells wonderful. Blade of choice today. Decided to go ahead and go with those standby Personna blade here, and got it in the Windrose. This is a open comb slant razor. Got a link down below for all this cool stuff. You want to check it out, see what it looks like. I've had this one here for a few years. It's a you can kind of tell there's no overhang, so if you're shaving underneath your nose, you got that going for you. But without, one of the things I kind of feel like is kind of a trade-off, if you don't have the tab sticking out, no overhang, you also have this extra. So if you're shaving underneath your nose, it might be a little difficult to get to some areas maybe. I have not shaved under my nose in over 20 years, so for me, it's not an issue, and probably won't be for a good long time to come. I already put a hot towel to the face this morning. We'll go ahead and get wet the face, and we'll get started with Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements Preshave. So the cube that I'm using is the Holliday scented one, and this is what's left of it. Been working on it for a while, but it is getting smaller. It don't take but a quick moment to use this, so it really depends on your wants and needs. I do use Preshave oil from time to time, and it seems, which it kind of varies sometimes, but for the most part, in general, when I'm using a shavette or a straight razor, that Preshave oil seems to work better for me than a Preshave. So we're all only talking about a slight difference, and for me, it's just over a period of time because I'm very familiar what it feels like when I'm using a shave head or a straight razor with a pre-shave soap or an oil and how it feels. And we're only talking about, a small difference, just that I have noticed it. Some other folks may not notice it at all. And you may not like pre-shave oil. That is one thing. Some people do like it, some don't. Like I say, it just kind of a your mileage may vary type thing. There we go. And this scent is nice. At least it works well for my nose, which is saying a lot, because here of late my nose has been giving me fits. This was an excellent buy, Superior Shave. I think I paid 30, maybe 35 bucks at the most. It's hard to find a good Badger brush at that price. I think these handles at one point in time came in different lengths. That might be the difference in the model number. For me, sometimes model numbers are hard to keep up with. What's the thought process and behind them? This one here I never did figure out. I usually have better luck with Parker's, I guess you might say, nomenclature, how they come up with their model numbers. As it goes for this particular shaver, I didn't look up how much it weighs. It does have some weight behind it. It's not a lightweight shaver. But to me, it also, due to the fact that this is got some weight behind it, it is really easy to use. The weight of the shaver, the sharpness of the blade, let it do all the work, and it's a really smooth shaver. I don't find it aggressive. I know sometimes these things look like a beast, but it is really a smooth, easygoing shaver. As it goes for smoothness, blade feel, if you have a Gillette Ball-Tech, or if you have a Edwin Jagger DE89 Merkur 34C, something along those lines, I mean, it is a very smooth shaver. Something that, for me, I don't give it a whole lot of thought when I'm using it. It's pretty much just one you don't have to concentrate a whole lot on it. Blade works really well for this shaver. Sometimes that's a lot of the trial and error. Also the fun figuring out what blades work best for what shaver. For me, most of the time, Personna works well for me. It's one that I know I can grab that blade and it'll pretty much work in any shaver that I'm using. I should say, this is the first time I've used Razor Emporium soap and aftershave balm as far as that goes. Yeah, I like this scent. There is another scent. It's not an exact match by any means, but when I opened the jug and the jar there and gave it a good whiff, it kind of sort of reminds me of this one here. I've got a Uncle John's. This one here's Prohibition. This one here, it's not an exact match by any means, but it did remind me of that particular scent. That's a nice scent too. Prohibition is a little bit on the, if you go to Uncle John's website, describes it of a slightly boozy scent. It's just one of those things that kind of popped into mind when I was smelling Old School. It may not be for everyone. It's kind of like frankincense and myrrh. I can understand some folks not liking it. It is a very unique scent. how you say, might even consider frankincense and myrrh a bold scent. In other words, it's hard not to smell. It's not light. This one here is, I guess you might say, somewhere in between. It's not a light scent, but it's not heavy by any means. For a 21 millimeter knot, this this brush is doing quite well. I usually find that the smaller knots work well for me. I do like this scent. You can hear that up against the door. That's Tony, our German Shepherd. At some point in time, I know we're going back to the office. Right now, the tentative plan is January. And Tony's not going to be happy. Now, when I picked this razor up a few years back, prices have changed quite a bit. This is not an inexpensive shaver by any means. But it is a really smooth shaver. I do like it. It feels great in the hand. I would venture to say this is probably close to at least 3.5 ounces, probably closer to 4. Definitely got some weight in behind it. I picked this handle here back when I got this. This is kind of a satin finish on the head, and this one here to a degree kind of sort of had a satin finish also. It seemed to look good to me. Back when I got this, you had an assortment of different handles you can get with it. This is just a handle I chose. And you, from what I can remember it, you can also just pick the head. If you, in other words, you got a handle you already like and think it's going to work well, we can just order the head. If that matters to anybody. Very efficient in my opinion. I don't feel a whole lot left on my face. In other words, it wouldn't take much to change directions. Right up underneath here, it's probably more me just missing the spot there. Feels really nice. Smooth. There's not much left on my face. Alright, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, alum block, and complete with rubber band this morning. Not expecting any stinging either. I usually don't when I use this razor. I think one of these days in the near future I need to try it with a feather blade and see how it feels. Witch Hazel, Humphreys, huge one, 16 ounces here. You know, I keep on saying it, but just in case the first time you've seen one of my videos, got this at Marshall's, $5.99. That's a hard price to pass up on 16 ounces of witch hazel. This one here is unscented, but it does have a scent to it. It's what I refer to as naturally occurring. My wife does not like it. Humphreys has a lilac and I think a violet, and violet is a little bit more difficult to find. I have some of the older ones. The containers have changed over time. The newer containers are round as opposed to, I guess you might say, rectangle in shape. Alright, go ahead and give this, like I say, this will be the first time you're using this one here, this aftershave balm, and show you what the opening looks like. I don't know if all of Razor Emporium's containers will look like this on the inside. In other words, it doesn't have a restrictor, so whatever the opening is, that's what it is, at least with this aftershave balm. At least this one here. It could have changed since then, who knows. Pouring just a little bit in my hand here. It is, how can you say, it is definitely fluid-like. Trying not to make sure more ends up on my shirt instead of my face. Usually an aftershave balm, depending on the thickness and whatnot, I do take my time working it in my face. The scent is still present. Sometimes on aftershave balms, the scent is, how can you say, doesn't last very long, at least per my nose. In other words, within just a few moments of putting it on, my nose doesn't pick it up anymore, but this one here I do. Depending on how you look at it, it kind of works out well if you plan on using a cologne afterwards. For me, excuse me, my routine, I get around fairly early in the morning, so if I was ready to run out the door, then I'd put some cologne on or something like that. That would probably work rather well. It smells great though. Probably could have a cologne just like this and be fantastic. I had a great shave this morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay healthy, stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.